Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss about this normalization. So what is normalization? So if a data or a file or table transferring from files to database to create a database table, so we'll get some problems. So to remove the problems we use normalization. Right? The normalization is a database design, or it's a technique that organizes tables in a manner that reduces redundancy and dependency of data. So if we are having some problems in the file processing system, that to overcome this one, we are using tables. So once we are going to the tables, we are working with the tables. So when transferring the data from files to databases, there is having some different type of problems. What is that? Maintaining the redundancy, duplication of data, and dependencies of data will be there. So what the dependencies are there? So normally we are having three types of dependencies. One is called as functional dependency, second one is partial dependency, and third one is transitive dependency. So what is the dependency? So once we are going to the dependencies, before going to the dependencies, so we'll go with this normal forms. So the inventor of the normal form is Edgar Code. Proposed the theory of normalization and introduced the first normal form, and he continued with the second normal form, then third normal. Later, the other person of database developer has been joined, is called as Raymond F. Boyce. So that's why these two people has been developed Boyce code normal form after the third normal form. Then after that we are having fourth and fifth normal form. So first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, BCNF. It is derived by Boyce code normal form. The two persons who invented or who worked with the normal forms. So those the people has been developed the normal form. It's called as Boyce code normal form. Okay. So before going to this one, we need to know something about the things called as dependencies, and another one is the key attributes. So what is the meaning of key? So key nothing but uniquely identifies a column or a attribute or field which can be having a unique identification that can be give the relation to all the attributes in a table. Those are called as key attributes, which is used to find a record, to insert a record, to give the relation between one table to another table. For all the purpose we use the key attributes. So generally we are having the keys are primary key, foreign key, secondary key, composite key, candidate key, and all things. So in this one we'll go with this primary key. So primary key nothing but what? Simply you can say unique plus not null. Unique plus not null. So what is the meaning of unique plus not null? Means an attribute must contain a value, which should not duplicate. Right? The value which you are giving, that should not be duplicate. Then that is called as a primary key. Right. So what is the composite key? Some situations not be possible to maintain a single column or single attribute or single field act as a primary key. Then we will use combine more than one attribute. Then that is called as composite key. A key or a primary key which is made with more than one attribute, then that is called as what? Composite key. So example here, one of the example I written. So what is that? Employee ID, employee name, job, project ID, project name, duration. In this one, we can't take employee ID as a primary key. Why? An employee can work more than one attribute at the same time. That means what? Employee ID can be repeated more two times or three times. If you suppose the person, some X having the employee ID is employee 105, he is working in three projects. So in the under 3 projects, the employee ID will be repeats. At the same way, we can take it as a project ID. Why? Because the project contains more than one employee. For employee 101 as a project 1, employee 102 also project 1, employee 3 also project 1. That means project 1 also duplicates. So how to overcome this one? Then we use the two things. One is called as employee ID and project ID act as a primary key attributes. Act as a primary key attributes. So combining these two is called as what? Composite key. So another one is there, that is called as the foreign key. So what is foreign key? A key which gives a relation on a subtable. Then that is called as what? Foreign key. The key which maintains a relation between main table to subtable. Then that key is called as foreign key. And foreign key values must be same as primary key values. We can't give more other than the primary key value. Suppose think that the primary key contains 10, 20, 30, 40, right? So in the foreign key attribute, we can use either 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, not other than this 4 values. We can give as a 60 or 70. Why? That value should be reflect on primary key. So that's keep in our mind. So they are the keys that we'll use in this one. Then go for the dependencies. There are the 3 types of the dependencies are there. One is called as the functional dependency, partial dependency and transitive dependency. So what is this functional dependency? All non-key attributes depending on key attribute. All non-key attributes depending on key attributes. So then that is called as functional dependency. The attribute which is having a relation between primary key and non-key, then that is called as what? Functional dependency. In a table, every non-key attribute must be functionally depending on primary key attribute. The second one is what? Partial dependency. What is the partial dependency? I said already previously, one of the composite key which is made with more than one attribute. A primary key which is made with primary key which is made with more than one attribute. Then a non-key attribute is depending on any one of the key attribute. A non-key attribute depending on any one of the attribute. So what is meant by one of the key attribute? As the example I said clearly, employee ID, employee name, job, project ID, project name, duration. In this one, employee ID and project ID. These two are key attributes. Now employee name is depending on employee ID. Job is depending on employee ID. Project name is not depending on the employee ID, is depending on project ID. Means what? Now the project name is a non-key attribute. It is depending on one of the key attribute. Then that is called as what? Partial dependencies. What is the transitive dependency? A non-key attribute depending on another non-key attribute. A non-key attribute is depending on another non-key attribute. Suppose some example I took: customer ID, customer name, location, city, zip code. Now you can observe customer name is depending on customer ID because customer ID is a primary key. Then location is depending on customer ID, city depending on customer ID, zip code is not depending on customer ID, it's purely depending on city. Now in this one, this is the relation. What is that? Now zip code is purely depending on city, right? So zip code is depending on city. Then that is called as transitive dependency. Zip code is a non-key attribute, city also a non-key attribute. A non-key attribute which is depending on another non-key attribute. Then that is called as transitive dependency. Right? Then coming to this one, normal forms. What is the normal form? First normal form, second normal. I took an example. I take a table which contains some data. In this one, you can observe this mainly movies rented. In this one, it contains more than one value, but normally in a table must contain only single value. An attribute must contain only single value. That's only says the first normal form. The first normal form says each table cell should contain a single value. That means what? table cell contains the column or field or row, sorry, or field or column or attribute. Now this movie center contain only single value, it should not be more than one value. Removing that one, and each record needs to be uniquely identifies. It must be uniquely identifies. So for that, what we done in the normal form, we divided. Now the full names has been repeated twice because it contains the two values, so two values, two rows will be there. That's now the table is there in the first normal form. What is the first normal form rule? First rule is what? Every cell must contain only single value. It should not be multi-valued. And the second rule is what? Each record needs to be unique. Every record should be unique. It should not more than one values. Then that is there in the first normal form. Okay. Then now the table has been there in the satisfy the first normal form. So once we can complete the first normal form, then you can go for the second normal form. Then means what? If I want to work the second normal form, it must be satisfy the first normal form rules. Then only you can go for second normal form. Suppose I want to go for the BCNF, means what? It should be satisfy the third normal form rule. If I want to work the third normal form rule, then it must be complete the second normal form rule, right? So then if I want to work the second normal form, it must be satisfied with the first normal form. That means what? If I want to go with this BCNF, it should satisfy the third normal form. It should be satisfied the third normal form. The third normal form means, if I want to work with the third normal form, means what? It should satisfy the second normal form. If I want to work the second normal form, means what? It should be satisfy the first normal form, right? So that is the rule will be there. Okay. Now we'll go for second normal form. What does the second normal form says? Rule 1, be in first normal form and single column primary key. We maintaining the key attributes. Maintaining the key attributes. So in the second normal form, we are to maintain the primary key attributes and foreign key. Why? Because in the first normal form, we made the table as single valued attributes. Once we reach the single valued attributes, then it must be go for key attributes, maintaining the key attributes. In this one, I have added one thing that is called a membership ID, movie rented. We have divided our first normal form into two tables. One is table 1 and another is the table 2. Table 1 contains member information, table 2 contains information on movies rented. Okay. So two tables we are maintaining. The tables contains what? Now full name, physical address and salutation. Okay, then movies rented will become to the second table. That means maintaining the key and primary key and foreign key relations. Maintaining the relation between two tables with the working of primary key and foreign key relations. Okay, so that is there in the second normal form. Next video we'll go for the remaining normal forms. Clear?